Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Dave Kryszczak again. We're going to have the second episode of the command post here. Not outside today, as it's very rainy and muggy. We appreciate you tuning in. Been getting a lot of great feedback. Again, very thankful and very optimistic about sharing some insights here. It's midsummer when I'm recording this here on the East Coast. And I've got a couple notes up for us to talk about today. Another monologue for, as a marketing agency owner and a marketer for the past decade, we typically come in on the marketing funnel, and we'll put a picture of that up here. You know, the top of the funnel, the medium funnel, and then at the bottom of the funnel in terms of when a customer is going to call us or what makes them want to call us from a service perspective, whether it's home service or professional service. That's our expertise. And when a homeowner or even a business owner has an emergency like Mrs. Jones with 2 feet of water in her basement, they want a solution fast. But before they click call, they do want to look you up and down, even if it's an emergency situation. And we'll talk about that a little bit today. But I always joke that we could have the before the call business, which is our job. Right when that phone rings, that's typically when our job as an agency would stop. And then the sales department or the intake department of your company would start. What we've noticed is a lot of our sister companies and friends have started to also do, after the phone picks up, sales training, sales consulting, etc., to make that process of closing that lead or getting an appointment set much higher. And I think that all has to realm around the marketing department. I think marketing and sales go one and one. And typically good SVPs of marketing sometimes don't make good SVPs of sales, but to have good sales, you definitely have to have good marketing, because salespeople can't sell bad stuff. As I always say, you can't sell crappy work for 10 years and still be in business. It's just not how that works. I also think of the marketing and sales pivot as an interesting line. When you have larger companies, marketing and sales are probably in the same cubicles or the same Zoom rooms now in 2026, but they don't talk as much as they should. A lot of my friends' companies and clients have a lot of sales professionals that go out to networking events, or they perform a lot of activity. And a good quote from one of our old sales coaches is, activity does not equate to performance, right? Why are we doing the action? Why are we going to this event? Who is at the event that we want to get in front of and speak to that would be a good fit for our business or a good fit for where they're trying to go, right? So I think when we approach it that way and translate that to marketing, right? Why are we running these ads? Why are we building a new website? Why are we investing all this money into this partnership? Either we're doing it on our own or we're doing it with a company. A lot of people just want to do the activity of the marketing. I always slow people down and say, hey, wait a minute. Let's talk about what the business goal is. And that can be equated to many things. Hey, we need 2 more jobs a week to hit our revenue goals for this year. Okay? How do we get there? What's your close rates? How many people see you now? How many jobs are you missing now? And it really, it backs out of just marketing and becomes more of a sales, operations, fulfillment, finance, the entire question of, can you actually handle this? Let's pretend that this all works. John, local plumber, John's Plumbing. Let's pretend this all works. Do you have enough men? Do you have enough trucks? Do you have enough time? Do you have a scheduler in the office? So I think a lot of people don't fully plan out that marketing side. And that's where we see, we're either building the strategy with our clients or they have a CMO or that type of person in the office with a plan already there. And then it's our job to help execute that. But it depends on the size of your company. If you're a smaller business, the owner operator, Chuck with a couple trucks. Now he's got a nice name, a nice brand. Now it turns into, I need a marketing company, or I need a marketing person in-house to help me do all these executables that I physically don't have time to do anymore, because you got to actually run the business. But today, I think I want to break down exactly what a potential customer looks for behind the scenes, and how your website and all of your initial digital assets, I'll call them, act as a really good salesperson, just in the form of a great revolving activity. Again, quick background on us. Started the company 10 years ago, building websites by accident for a local plumber here in New Jersey. Now we service hundreds of clients a year. We have 15 full-time W-2 employees, and we've done this a time or two. And built too many websites for battleships, websites for plumbers, websites for nonprofits, websites for government. And I think it all has one thing in mind. Pre-AI, and then I'll give some comments post-AI, but pre-AI, believing that having a basic website with a phone number and those types of things is great if you just need a website to say you legally exist. But it is really a digital professional representation of you. If it's a family business, your family, right? Sometimes second, third, fourth. We have some fifth generation family business clients here at Spartan. It's an engine to build trust, right? And I don't mean just trust with other humans. Pre-AI, all of these derivatives went to your website, then they called you off your website. Now with AI is reading through your entire website. It's making all those buying decisions for your customer. And it's the middle of 2026 right now. If we have this conversation 6 months from now, AI is just going to start making blank recommendations. It's not going to give you 3 options like we used to have with Google search, and people can, look up and down the page rankings and all those types of things. It turns into not just having a big billboard with all of our stuff on it. It's a brochure that gains trust over time with real, factual, statistically accurate information, with good SEO, good local PR that's making a great comeback, and those types of things to drive that customer trust. And every time I hear it from a lot of my clients is, they're the best salesman. And that's a key man risk in our agency too, right? But what happens is, as you start to build that framework of trust around your brand and your company, that then sells itself, and it makes the sales and marketing team that you grow as you continue to grow from smaller to larger a lot easier, because there's a great brand, a great brochure, and a great name to go promote. That's why those salespeople and those people are sticking around with your company most of the time, right? As part of our brochure, that we take a very slow approach in the beginning so that everybody has a clear and fair understanding as to what the journey is, even if you're just a home services company servicing Mrs. Jones on the worst day of her life, potentially, right? And the reason why I think, we talk about that psychological journey, Mrs. Jones has to trust you to enter her home when it's probably disgusting, right? If it, let's just say you're disaster recovery, like a Serve Pro or a Pura Clean or local franchise there, right? Homeowners aren't buying a widget. They're letting your men and women, your strangers, you into your house. If you don't have that high level of trust digitally, why do you think that they should trust you in person? Right? AI is just going to recommend a new one. And AI is going to read it and say, well, we don't really think that's trustworthy based off of 68 million calculations we performed in under a millisecond. And that's why we're going to suggest company B instead of you, company A. And that, I think, goes into the random acts, the random ads, the random SEO, that everything about the AI world right now. all this activity, again, does not equate to performance. And that would be kind of the framing of that whole conversation. That website and your brand, your logo, your colors, your texturing, your styling, how you sound on the phone, that's your digital front door, right? All how you sound on your social media, what kind of press releases you put out. It needs to reflect the same care, professionalism, and craftsmanship that you put into your work. I've seen a lot of good online companies do really bad work. And they're still doing really good because they have that high level of trust. But then, a couple of years later, the bad reviews and the bad word of mouth catch up to them in their local market, and they typically don't last very long. From a pre-selection side, when we talk about the actual our framework and how we would suggest a brand new client, Dave, I'm starting a plumbing company. I'm going to go into home services, maybe an 80-20 split, 80 residential, 20 commercial, right? Small business, think pizza shops, those kinds of things in your town, right? The mayor of your hometown concept. I don't want to leave my county, but I want to own everything in that county. Is all of your social proof and authority, like we just talked about. Local reviews, real work, and authority insights. Are you a member of the local chamber of commerce? Do you go to events? Do you and your wife go to events? Do you have salespeople that go to the events? Are you physically eating, sleeping, living, and breathing in the community that you're going to service? And if not, do you have professionals that do? I think that has a really good effect on that human level of connection. Using real photos of John and Dave and Alex and Susie and Sally that are going to come to your customer's house, speak to you on the phone. Nobody likes all these AI edited things anymore. I'm noticing a lot of like an AI.com boom of it was really cool for a while, but now we want to go back to, all right, when I pick the phone up and I need to talk to a human, I would really appreciate a human at all times, but where applicable, really, really solid AI phone system is probably not the worst thing, but for 99% of use cases, a human still wants to talk to another human, right? We can still agree on that. Homeowners connect with people, right? Not fake voices, fake brands, fake comments, fake postings, or the generic made with AI type stuff. I always say that whatever you put into that AI system, think that 45,000 people just got the same exact thing spit right back out to you. There's nothing original. There can be based off of your logo, but you still want a designer, you still want a human to put that touch on it before it goes out the door. And just that alignment overall digitally, right? Does your social media talk back to your website? Does your Google My Business profile, your Apple Maps profile, all of your directories, your Yelps, your Angie's Lists, those types of things of the world, just in the home services department, do they all talk to each other? Do they all go to a high converting landing page, whether that's your home page or if you have your home page, and then if you might have seen it before, think plumbing services in Deptford, plumbing services in Philadelphia, plumbing services in New York. And all of those pages are designed specifically for the people and businesses that will be coming to those pages so that you're speaking their language, speaking their local geographic, and you're not throwing all your ad spend right out the window. That all happens, just a very small piece of what I just talked about, but in terms of the total strategy, but that all happens before anybody calls you, fills out a contact form, texts you, messages you on Google. All of that is pre-sales conversation, pre-client, pre-everything. So on the front end. After they pick up, how do we sound on the phone? Is everything right? Is it scripted? Is it professional? After marketing's done and sales picks up the phone, are we converting it the right way based off of how you, the owner, would do it? Because what I also notice is as smaller companies start to grow, what the owner thinks is happening versus once we turn on call tracking and actually listen to what's happening is they're typically a little bit higher blood pressure. We're going to give them some water to cool them down. As you grow, you're going to have growing pains, and that's part of why you have outside companies any kind of company, consultants, operations consultants, marketing consultants, etc., looking at things outside of your purview, because there's a lot going on as a business owner, and these things do happen. And then they're there to make the change and help you implement those. The bottom of the funnel, I need you right now scenarios that a lot of our clients, specifically in the disaster recovery, plumbing, HVAC, pest control space, spend a lot of money on, is somebody in those high stress situations, right? I think of, you're almost acting like a 911 operator in that moment when you speak to somebody who's standing in 3 feet of water in their basement with all of their family belongings currently soaking up whatever sewage and gut and rainwater is coming in through their window. As a water restoration certified person, me personally, and then a couple Spartans on our team also have the WRT certification, which is from the IICRC. I think of the clarity that person has to provide once the phone's picked up, but also the clarity of what has to happen for them to trust us that quickly. The old adage, is they're going to go to Google and type, holy shit, there's water in my basement, and call the first whoever picks up wins, right? But I think not just that, but if it's a really sketchy company and a really professional company, and the professional company's on the bottom, I still think they would go to that professional company in hindsight, because they know that something digitally has to be working for them to be doing so well, looking so sharp, doing those types of things. With the Mrs. Joneses of the world and the homeowners, depending on whether you service higher income, lower income, any kind of income, doesn't really matter. I think it's, can they feel the empathy through the screen? Or if you're running ads, are they video ads? Are you in them speaking to them? If they're Google ads, do those pictures and those words convey the calming sense that we would want somebody to have, like a 911 operator on the phone? Hey, be calm, here's what to start doing, help's on the way, etc., etc. And going back to my original point, you have to have the business goal in mind. They just do the work, right? Build the website, run the ad, do whatever. Partners care, okay, do we stop running the ads for this amount of time, because obviously you're booked up for 4 weeks and that would be a waste of your money. I just had that conversation with a plumbing client yesterday. We've decreased scope. We are making less money. They've been a partner for almost 3 years now. They're booked out too far. It would not behoove us to spend more money for a client to call. Mrs. Jones is going to call. There's a plumbing emergency at her home. And we're going to say, hi, Mrs. Jones, we can't handle that right now. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. Call Dave's Plumbing up the road. Now, there's referral partnerships and stuff that we can talk about at a little more advanced tilt. But at a high level, we're spending money on something that we're going to say no to. And as somebody who also runs a business, that is not a smart financial decision. So I think it's the dynamic revelation that is marketing your business. Setting something so straight from an activity perspective does not equate to the strategy of the ebbs and flows that are going to actually be your cash flow statements if I pulled them every month. So that's where I think, from a partnership perspective, that I'm focused on the next level in, hey, I'm tight this month. Can we do net 90 on the payments? Yeah, because I know in 3 months you're going to be absolutely crushing it on fire. Right now you can barely make payroll. That's just how your business runs. Our partners appreciate us. That's the differentiating factor that other companies might not do. And if they do, that's the sign of a great company. And that's who you want to keep partnering with, no matter what service it is. The second she makes that phone call, once they get off the phone saying, hey, that technician will be at your house in under 30 minutes, we're on the way. be calm, call me back here if you need anything, okay? Or if you want to stay on the phone or whatever. And then click, how do they feel? How'd you make them feel? Do they feel confident that you're able to come solve this problem? It's going to be a lot of money, right? Hopefully insurance covers it. If not, is she going to be comfortable financing something for 25, 35, 45 plus thousands of dollars? Some of our larger enterprise clients have us working on sales materials, PDFs. What do I give the customer? How does the buyer journey work? That's all marketing executables, right? If that's an internal website that we give a customer, they sign for financing for a roof, or they sign for financing for a new garage door or something like that. That's all still marketing sales material. So I think depending on how you cut the lens on that as an owner, your brain can really be in 2 or 3 buckets. It's either I need more direct customers, I need more direct hires, or I just want to keep my presence that I have. I'm kind of large enough, and when something might start to dip, like a business unit or a specialized section of the business, then I want to put some money on it to fix it and get it back to where it needs to be so we hit our goals. So, in terms of like takeaways and stuff that you might be able to do by yourself, or if you have an internal team, or if you have a girl or a guy who does marketing in-house for your company right now, I would just audit your own front door, right? We have something on our website too for a free lead generation audit as well. We're happy to do that. But go to your own business website on your phone right now, probably while you're listening to this, and do you feel trustworthy in 3 seconds? The other funny thing, ask somebody who might not know what you do, or somebody that you just met, or a new colleague or something like that, or a neighbor. Do they feel that level of trust within 3 to 5 seconds? And part of the first questions that some of our web designers ask is, are there websites that you feel good about? From a front door perspective, that's the impression that we want to give. It's very welcoming, very inviting, very trustworthy, as soon as humanly possible. And then the humanization of your brand, right? Replacing a couple stock images on your website with pictures that you can just take with your camera, right? You have a $1,500 to $2,000 camera on the back of your device. Take some pictures in the office, take some pictures of the office, edit them through Gemini or Claude, or having our designers come take photos, and photographers and drones and all that. A quick tactical thing is replacing 3 or 4 stock images on your homepage with those high quality before and afters, with those high quality pictures of your team in front of your trucks, in front of your office, right? You spend a lot of money on all that stuff, the people, the place, and the equipment, right? All the nouns of your company. Make sure that you're showing that to the future customers of your world. And then third, I would say the most important, I would ensure that your Google Maps is fully optimized, localized to your hometown and your home area, and that you're actively generating recent reviews to support the authority of organic search. And there's a very simple way to do that. If you're a franchise, you probably have national requirements for reviews, and maybe a legal form that some people have to sign in terms of their satisfaction. While you're sweeping your way out of the house, little business card size cards with review links on them. They can scan them with their phone, and you can help Mrs. Jones fill that out as you're leaving with a great experience, and she's thanking you up and down. That's a good organic way to just start that process. And then there's some automatable pieces of software like Bird Eye and a few other pieces of tech that we use for multi-location companies to drive those reviews in certain locations so that they all look very clean cut, professional, and they all look big. As an ethics disclosure, anybody who pays for reviews, offers to give you reviews, is probably not a good place to be. Once you get in trouble with Google at that scale for faking reviews, especially with all the new AI checks that they use to perform those check violations, you're in a lot of trouble and I can't get you out of it. Google's not playing when it comes to who they're letting other customers advertise to let people into their homes, especially as we go into the paid advertising sector of our business and how much more restrictive it has become to get certified as an advertiser on certain parts of Google and Yelp and those types of things. The people that are on there are doing legitimate business, and if you're on there, good for you. And if you're having problems with that, any agency or any marketing professional should have some knowledge of that that you're working with to help you get back on those platforms. Don't let outdated or underperforming digital presences make your business invisible, which you'd be surprised how many 5, 10, 50, $100 million companies have zero online presence still in 2026. Don't let it make you invisible or drive qualified leads into your competition, right? If they're not calling you, they're calling somebody else. And if you're providing a good, high quality, localized service, you should be doing really well. Ready to stop guessing and start building a real lead gen system? Visit our website. It's in the description, spartandigital.com, and we'll give you a free lead generation audit, as we are your special forces lead generation warriors for home service companies. Thank you so much. We appreciate your viewership. Please subscribe to all the channels below wherever you're watching this. And if there's any questions, please email me, get in touch with me. We love the education part of our business. It's part of our warrior culture. And have a blessed day. We'll talk to you soon.